What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. It's time for Proper Royals Live. I got Robby Richard from Argen Reptiles on the show. I can't believe it's been 3 years since he's been on the show. A lot has changed. There's a lot to catch up on. I can't wait to catch up. Robby's a good old friend, and I'm glad to have him back. Thanks for being here. Let's get to it. What's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday night to you. Sorry, I always have to adjust. I don't know why I adjust this all the time. Maybe I just have more like excitement some weeks than others. I'm not sure. Thank you for being here tonight. It's Proper Royals Live. If we've not met before, my name's Adam. I do this every Tuesday night, and we talk about pythons and business and community, reptiles in general, all those good things. And like I say, every Tuesday night, it's here. August will be. I was just talking with Robby. August will be 5 years that I've been doing this show. So pretty excited for the run. Thank you all for the support. Thanks for being here. Robby will be on in just a little bit from Argen Reptiles. In the meantime, thanks to everybody that came out to the Cold Blooded Expo show on Sunday here in St. Paul. It's just up the road, a hometown show. It's a really cool show. It's a nice show. There's good vendors there. I enjoy it. The venue is really good. And I appreciate the business and the local community as well. There's a nice metro-sized or a nice-sized metro market here as well. So if I met you at the Cold Blooded Expo show, thanks for stopping by. It was cool. It was a cool show that day. Next show will be Ed and Emily's Snake Discovery Show, May 31st in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, just across the border. I think it's no, it's not technically in the metro area, but it's like an hour and 15 minutes away. It's not bad. Come out to that. That is a very, very fun pet show. It's an exotic pet show rather than just reptiles. So you don't know what animals you're going to see there. It's kind of a scene when you go there as like a ball python breeder that kind of takes things seriously. You know, you look around and you're like, man, this is chaos in here. But there's all kinds of different animals, birds, aquatics. There was a kangaroo there one time, foxes. So all kinds of cool stuff. I don't know if they were for sale, if they were just there to take pictures with. Don't get me in trouble, or I'm not trying to get any. I have no idea the legality of foxes and kangaroos. I'm sure those people were had their act in order and all that. But like I say, I just get a kick out of that show. I enjoy it though. It's a good show. So come on out to that one. That's in May. That's next time. I got hatchlings around the corner, and man, it's springtime. Like, it's so invigorating. You could get to projects that you haven't wanted to get to that are outside. All the snow is gone. The buds are on the trees. I realize I'm in Minnesota, so I'm probably one of the last people in the country experiencing this, but I'm excited to be experiencing it. So no really other big announcements. That Cold Blooded Expo show that I just completed on Sunday kind of finishes that really busy end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter run of shows that I do from kind of February through, those 6 or 8 weeks of shows. And then I'll do another run like that in the fall around Tinley, of course. So I'm just kind of exhaling and enjoying life, feeling good. The hatchlings come in like 3 weeks. They'll start arriving, and that'll just be off to the races for, through fall as well. So keep your eyes open on that. I'll be updating Morph Market. I'll be updating properroyals.com. A lot of stuff goes to Morph Market. All the stuff goes to properroyals.com, and Patreon gets first dibs on all the hatchlings before they go to either place. So those are the places that you can look out for the hatchlings in 2026. So Robby is back on the show. Robby Richard, he is the breeder behind Argen Reptiles, and I have to find out. I feel bad saying this. It's either Greenville or Spartanburg. And if you're not from that area in South Carolina or upstate, I think is what they call it. I can't remember which, but it's like Minnesota, St. Paul. It's right there. They're not the same, but they're very close. But anyway, Robby's from there in South Carolina. We met sometime back. We did some business together with snakes, and then did some. He was a great supporter, and I would advertise for him. And we've kept in touch, and we've had several conversations over the years since then. And it just occurred to me that I wonder what he was up to. And I was like, I got to get Robby back on the show. And like immediately he was like, yes, we'll make that happen. So pretty excited. You stay in touch with somebody, but you don't really like catch up or really know. Yeah, I don't really stay up with them, So it's nice to have this show tonight. We took a little bit of different paths and had a little different outlook the last time that we spoke, and we probably still do. But I've always enjoyed his insight and definitely have enjoyed his animals. And last but not least, if you've never met Robby, stick around. He's genuinely one of the just the kindest people that I've met in this hobby, in this industry. There's lots of good people. But he's definitely somebody I would trust to do business with. So stick around for tonight. But in the meantime, please help me welcome back to the proper royal stage, Robby Richard from Our Gen Reptiles. Robby, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, Adam. Great to be on.
Glad to have you back, man. Yeah. Is there anything more awkward than sitting in a green room while somebody else talks about you in the third person?
That is one of the more awkward situations for sure.
How is life? How's your wife? How's your family? How's life going?
Yeah, things are going well. Family is growing up. Kids, I think you have how old's your son? 13, 14?
Yeah, he's 14. He just turned 14 now. Nice job. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I knew because it was around the age of my son. He's turning 16 this week, driving around, get things done by himself. Has a job, and so you see the kids are growing up, and you're like, man, this is going by way too fast.
Yeah, I bet. And I just feel like it's got to be like turbo time from like 13 or 14 to that 16 when they're behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, and then then they're juniors, seniors, and then they're out of the house, and so it happens quick. So. Yeah.
Do you have any kids that have gone out of the house or they're graduated yet?
No, not yet. 16's the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that everybody's doing well. How is your other business? You were doing some international work, I think, with your church and whatnot as well. How's that? Is that still the same? Still going on? How's that?
Yeah, still going on. So it's a Christian nonprofit, and we do kind of training around the world. So just got back Sunday night from Cameroon. I try to stack herping and traveling at the same time. So if I have enough time, I try to get out in the bush and see some stuff. And this last trip, I didn't get to see much. I saw a couple of cool lizards and stuff. But so I try to go see whatever I can when I do travel. So
that's a massive flex, man. I just got back from Cameroon. How long were you in Cameroon for?
Oh, it was like, I think I was on the plane more than I was there. I was maybe there for 3 or 4 days total.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Successful trip, accomplished what you needed to?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Congratulations, man. With how often do you travel like that? Is that a regular thing, or did I just happen to catch a coincidental moment to
no, it depends on the time of year, but normally, I try to, just because where the family's at right now, try to limit the number of trips, but I could go on pretty much as many as I want. So
okay.
I try to limit it down to one every, if it's these longer trips, is one every 6 weeks or so.
I see. What about the animals when you're traveling? Now that trip was probably short enough they were fine, but do you have to bring somebody else in, or do you find that that's a challenge?
Yeah, so that is a challenge. It is always a challenge. Snakes are not so much. The rodents are the challenge. And so,
right.
So this time, I mean, my wife involuntarily helps out, and she does a great job. But she helps out, and mainly like on these where it's like I try to fit something in a week, and so it's just, hey, feed, make sure they got water. You don't have to worry about cleaning or anything like that. Now, when I get like the summertime is a really busy season. This last summer really it kicked my backside. So I was just in and out 6 different trips within 3 months. It was nuts. And so And then you got clutches coming because of the summer. And so that I was able to get some people to help me. But it did push me to a point where I was like, okay, I got to do one or the other. And because I was mainly doing most of it myself. And I got to a point, put the word out, I was going to sell everything.
The ball pythons?
Yeah, everything. I was burned out.
Wow.
And so, yeah, there was an offer on the table. In the end, it fell through, not because of anyone's fault, just financing didn't come through. And I was glad in one sense because it made me push to look at things a different way. And so I actually had a guy come on very part-time, but enough to help me and calm me down. So that's going on right now. He's not available, but right now I'm able to handle everything by myself, and hopefully he'll be available soon. And we can continue that way. And though it's a little bit more expensive, obviously overhead and such, at the same time, the amount of peace of mind and time that it saves, I think it's worth it. So, yeah.
Well, good for you for finding an answer. I'm glad that you're still sitting here tonight and with snake racks behind you to have the conversation that we're going to have, man. That I tell the story on the show a lot, so I won't tell the whole story. But the one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard. It's so simple, but I heard somebody just say one time, if your business model isn't working for you, change your business model. And that seems, like I say, so simple. But what you just said was a great example of where you just said, this isn't working for me. And what works for other people might not work for you, and vice versa. So it's not like, hey, here's a blueprint of what's right and wrong. But nice job finding somebody to help you out in a way that works. I feel like it's almost harder to find somebody very part-time versus hey, they'll come work all the time, but then that crashes the business. I don't know about you. I can't afford somebody to work all the time.
Can't afford it. Yeah. So, that just worked out, and hopefully he'll be able to keep on doing it. If not, we'll have to figure out another solution. But I think I was selling because I was just tired, and it was taken away from other priorities and such, but I'm glad it worked out mainly because I just, I really enjoy doing this. So that's helpful. I know that I would have regretted it. And so for now, we're going to keep on plugging away at the way that we're handling it. So, yeah.
Very good. Do you have, I think when we chatted one time, when you were building your facility that you had, you have a rodent operation as well or not?
So I think the last time we talked, I did, but it was at a friend's house. So they were doing all the rodents for me. Okay. What happened was he got out. I put it at another friend's house. He could do it for a little while, but he couldn't do it for long. So I brought it all over here. And so in this new facility, I've got about 20 by 20 space. It's a 20 by 30 building, but 20 by 20 is for the snakes. And then 10 by 20 is for the rodents. It was originally for storage, but since I had to bring everything over here, and I've got other racks because it was a bigger rodent operation at my friend's. I've got, I think, another rack at least, and like a rat rack and a mouse rack at another buddy's place. But I've got the majority of the stuff here now, and so running that, and I really don't like it, but it is very helpful. I mean, the amount of food you can get as breeders, we've got to get these things up to size, and so what you can put in. I've been changing up some of my feeding habits since I can do that now, and so it's been interesting to experiment and such.
I was cracking up because so many people try and spin oh yeah, I really enjoy the rodents. They're rough. I get it, man. I'm allergic to the things. I got to have a mask on when I'm in there. And I'm fortunate. My son actually comes with me every Saturday, and I can't believe it. This kid does not have much of a hard working bone in his body, but he does rodent. Every week he does rodents with me, and I pay him. But I'm like, okay, this is cool, man.
That's impressive. My kids, they're not gonna. So my son, he's pretty entrepreneurial as well, but he does other things, and so he measures how much he could make working for me or how much he could make doing his business, and he goes with his business.
Well, mine will get to that point. I mean, the other day he was so excited because he found a 50-pack of sticks of gum for $5. He's like, I just bought these sticks of gum for 10 cents each. I was like, why do you need 50 sticks of gum? He's like, I'm going to sell them for a quarter each. And I'm like, okay, A, you need to mark it up 300%, not 250%. B, you need a bigger price point than a quarter. What are you going to walk around with a bunch of quarters in your pocket all day?
That's funny.
So yeah, I had
the
to
mindset's there.
Yeah, I gotta stay ahead of the gum hustle if I want the rodent help for a little bit, you know. What rodents are you breeding? I think you mentioned rat and mice racks, but are you breeding those or?
Yeah. So I have all three of the major ones. So rats, mice, and ASF. Yeah.
Gotcha. What you said that you like changing up some of the feeding. What are you seeing with what are you experimenting with on some feeding habits with ball pythons?
So, I mean, obviously when I didn't have my own rodents, it was the typical once every 7, 10, sometimes every 2 weeks or so, especially for the larger ones. And those, unless they're females that I need to put some size on, they're still, I don't have a super set schedule. It's whenever I have a free day to feed. And so that'll be 10 days, 2 weeks, could be 7 days. And if they're really hungry, I'll throw multiples in there. But for the hatchlings, I've been really experimenting with very, very small meals, but almost every day or 4 or 5 times a week, but much smaller meals than I would normally give. And they seem to pound that, pound it, like everything, they're always ready to eat. Mm-hmm. And then,
any preferred rodent versus just the size, or just as long as the size
what
is
I
right?
produce most of is the rats. And so that's just the easiest. And if they're going to be sold ever, I just prefer to have them on the rats. I do think, I'm not sure if I believe the whole, hey, they normally get stuck on a certain prey. I think a lot of just bad eaters from my experience.
Or they're in the wrong container, or they're not happy to begin with. Yeah, exactly.
Something's up.
I don't like to interject my own opinions when I'm asking for other people's opinions, but yeah, I second that. I switch mine between ASFs and frozen rats constantly. It's just a matter of whatever I have access to at the moment. More of is what I feed.
Yeah, the ones that eat really well on rats, I'm not scared of throwing anything else in there for sure. For them to hit. So I'm doing that with the hatchlings, and it's been great. I think they get up to size pretty quickly. They normally stay on food for a long time, and it's obviously mainly with my males that I'm trying to get up to size. So for the first 4 or 5 years of doing this, I held back lots of females, and now I'm having to hold back lots of males and get them up, and just to move the projects forward. So yeah, nice.
What about on your bigger adults? Do you change up? What's your preferred feeding on the bigger adults then?
Yeah, so I still feed mainly small rats. I've got a couple that I'll trust throwing in a pre-killed medium, or I have thrown some retired breeder rats in there. And that's every couple of days. I mean, every couple of 7 to 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks. When I'm traveling, I make sure they haven't eaten probably a week before, and then I'll feed them when they get back. So that's normally could be 14, even 20 days. But I haven't really noticed. The only ones I really worry about getting food in are females that are building, and just want to make sure that they're
that they get all the nutrients that they can. Yeah.
But what I can see is what I've figured out. Like, I'm getting to the point where I have some really big snakes, and they can. I mean, they don't care if they eat or not. They're so big. They're just like, we don't, they'll eat every time you throw it in there, but they definitely don't need to eat anymore. And I wonder sometimes, if obesity affects them just as much as it would affect any other, living thing. So
I think it does. I mean, I think I have heard, I don't have the stats to back this up, so I can't speak to it. But yeah, I have heard that, there can be liver problems from the obesity, from obesity in ball pythons. I'm kind of with you though on the timing of that. If they're not breeding, it's usually every other week. Now, if I'm trying to get a hatchling up to size and established and ready to go to market, that's a different story. And then the breeder females, I actually do the opposite. I'll feed them until they don't. I mean, I joke that it's the all you can eat buffet. If a girl's breeding or building, that for, for those couple months, if she wants food, I'll give her the food. And and I know people are like, well, how do you, they're opportunistic. So how do you say that that they want the food? If they eat and their chin is still up when I open that tub, I throw another one in. And there comes a point where they will not eat another one, and then I stop. So that's and like you say, it's a little bit smaller food. I'm not throwing retired ASF breeders in there like that.
I like when you pull that drawer out and you see their head just pop up like that. You're like, oh, they want to,
Yeah, they're up for another. It's either going to be my hand or a rodent, so let's give them a rodent kind of thing. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I breed only ASFs, but I source a lot of frozen rats from Cold Blooded Cafe. Obviously, I still work with them. So it's whichever I have more in stock. If customers want ASFs, then I'll feed frozen rats. If I've got a whole bunch of ASFs that are building up just because of the time of year, what people want and don't want, then I'll feed those off. So. And then to your point earlier, it kind of helps when it comes to selling as well, to be able to say, I know for sure that they eat rats. People, it's not worth having that debate every time. It's like, no, they might eat frozen rats. They're going to be fine kind of deal. So I look towards that. Tell us about the new facility. I know that you are in it now, and we talked a little bit earlier, and then I don't know, we talked a year and a half ago or so about it, maybe, or 2 years, something like that. Tell us about your new facility and what led to that. What was the catalyst of like, okay, I need to, I can't remember if you built the building or you converted the building, but either way, it was not an inexpensive proposition.
Yeah. So probably about, maybe 2021 or so, we put up kind of a metal building structure in the back. Obviously, it was for storage / game room type of deal. But in my mind, I was like, "This is the future snake." So I guess it would have been after we talked, probably 2024. I was like, "Hey, I think it's time I can start converting this." So I was just talking with my wife. Hey, this is what we can do. I'm outgrowing the garage, which I had a very, very small room. I don't know if you remember, it was like 8 feet by 7. I mean, it was very small, one rack, half a what's it called? A hatchling rack, that kind of thing. And so, had the building, I thought, hey, we're not using it to all its potential. I can turn it into this if I, put some insulation in, put a wall in the middle. And so went ahead with doing all of that. We were talking, I think, because I like your sink, and so I took your advice and looked on the restaurant website and got a sink. And now all my snake friends who come over, they have sink envy. So
man, everybody laughs about that sink, but they all love it, man. I think that sink is more famous than I am. I'll tell you what, too, I'll have to post the link on my Instagram. The sprayer that I bought is still the very same sprayer, like 5.5 years later and it was just an Amazon one. And I'm like, I'm blown away because I remember changing them all the time in the restaurants. Now I don't wash as many dishes as we did in the restaurant, but I use 5 years, a long time for that sprayer, man. It's still, it's nice, man. So what, sorry, I will. What sink configuration did you go with? Just since we're getting nerdy here, and I love this stuff. How many basins you got?
Just one. I went with the simplest one, and it's got the runoff thing, so you put it on
drain
the
boards. Yes, right, you get like the extra shelf.
And then it's big enough for me to fit a full lengthways the tub, the 5540, and even the 70 series. Obviously,
there you go.
Length. Yeah, so that fits fine for everything that I have. And love it.
Excellent. So sorry. So you got the sink, you decided to move into the building. How'd you decide to configure it? What insulation did you go with? What's your HVAC situation? Oh, you went with the spray foam. Nice.
Yeah, I went with the spray foam, which was more expensive, but I figured it would be good just because it gets pretty warm here in South Carolina. And then, so I did that in the snake part, the 20 by 20 snake part. And then in the rodent, I just spray foamed the ceiling. I didn't do the sides just because I don't have to keep it as temp controlled. And then I have a split unit with the heat pump in here, with a large fan that's moving on top. And so that has done well for me. We've had some of the more extreme weather that we've had than in the past that we had experienced. So we had a big hurricane that came through right before we came into this, which is not normal for this part of the country.
Yeah. How did you guys do on? Sorry, that's sort of close to my heart because I lived in Lake Lure, and the lake was they just reopened the lake. The lake was gone. Chimney Rock washed into the lake, and they had Army Corps of Engineers had to dredge the whole lake and empty the lake.
Yeah, no, it was pretty impressive. I happened to be like it hit, and happened to be in South Korea at the same time. So wow. I had to get back. I mean, I left because I said I can't leave my family there because there's no power or anything like that. And so I got home. By the time I got home, they had cleared the roads enough for me to get in, but we didn't have power for like eight days, I think. Yeah. We like my wife's really good about all that, and my kids are because we've kind of grown up all over the world, and so
sure.
It was they just didn't have to go to school. Everybody had a lot of fun here, and we had to figure it out. And so it was a good experience. The weather was perfect outside, so all I had to do was run a generator to my incubator every once in a while, because I have a backup battery on my incubator. So I just charge that and let that run for 20 hours or so, and then charge it up again and let it run 20 hours or so. And I really only had one clutch in the incubator at that time. But I mean, it was rough. It was rough for this area. I mean, normally you don't have any extreme. We don't have earthquakes. We normally don't have hurricanes. We don't have a whole lot of tornadoes. We don't have huge amounts of snow. And the last 2 years we had that hurricane, and then this past was it February? We got hit by snow twice, snowstorms twice, and but thank goodness we didn't lose power or anything. So we were good with that.
How did the insulation hold up for you as far as temps and all?
Yeah,
it all works together.
No problem. Yeah, my biggest issue is I do have a window in here, a glass window, and so there's cold air comes in through the sides of the window, and so it forms a lot of condensation, and that condensation drips. Mm-hmm. And so because I have the temperature set at what it's set at, there's probably some not mold, but bacteria issues that grow and that kind of stuff, and so I got to be on top of that.
Yeah. That is one thing. Now Minnesota is probably a lot more harsh when it comes to cold weather. Not probably, I know it is.
Way.
So my front door has that because I mean, even with the weather seal, there's still cold temperatures being introduced into a high humidity, warm area, which immediately causes the condensation. So that's actually one of my big challenges to try and figure out for this coming winter, because the inside of my front metal door is just covered. When I walk in, it actually drains to the floor. And then, like you say, there's like this sludge that you have to keep up with that is, anyway, it's funny that you mentioned that because that's actually like I go, like I ask people, I'll just be in like a commercial warehouse and I'll be like, that door, you get a condensation. What do you do about that? And honestly, the thing that people have told me the most is put a fan on the ceiling aimed directly at the door so that it dries the air in that area.
Oh, okay.
That's what they tell me. I was thinking.
Try that.
I was thinking I would have to find like a skinny, like almost like a heat rope and like heat the door kind of thing. And they're like, no, put a fan right on it. And I'm like, well, okay. I got no problem with more air circulation.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's one of the issues. The other issue, and this is what I learned with the metal building, is because you know how you have the metal struts holding up those also form condensation on there and drip down. So I did the foam off the metal sides deep enough to, be up along the sides of the strut, but I didn't actually insulate the actual metal struts. And so that also, you get some condensation forming on that as well.
I got lucky. My spray foam guy told me that, and he was like, you need to have, he's like, you're going to have it dripping into your, cause I have a sheetrock ceiling. He's like, you're going to have that dripping into your sheetrock ceiling. If not. And I was like, Thank you. So, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. It's anyway, the details that we learn going through the stuff. So, all right, last question on this. What would you do different if you didn't, if you had it to do over again, or what lesson did you learn that you're like, man, I should have done this differently in this way?
I probably would have built in an automatic generator into this part,
yeah.
like a Generac or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I wonder if there's a better way to use the space, but I think, when you get into a place and you have so much space, you just kind of put things where you need to.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make anything fit because it's so big. So as we grow, if we do continue to grow, I look forward to playing Tetris and seeing how it can fit the maximum amount of what we need to into this building. So, yeah.
Man, if you're ever in Minnesota, come by my place, because I have the opposite problem. I'm like, all right, that's it. But I've got 10-foot ceilings. So now I'm like, all right, what can go up? What can I get on shelving above things? And then like you say, what can I piece together? So I use Aspen instead of Cocoa, but my Aspen bag fits on a roller under the drain pan we were talking about on the sink. So where that sink takes extra space, there's a cubby underneath, and it's like, okay, that's the Aspen location. Okay, this is where the trash is going to be. And it's what really I wouldn't say inspired me, but led me to problem solving was when I worked for Ruby Tuesday. We had the first place that I worked at was like you're describing. It was a massive kitchen. It was just space, a space. And they opened another one up the street, and they asked me, or up in town a little bit, and they asked me to go work at that one. And I got there, and it was like what I envisioned, like a submarine being like. And I asked, and I asked the guy, the regional manager, I was like, "What happened here?" He says, "Adam, that other building, we have to do about $47,000 a week in revenue just to break even." He said, "This model of this unit, this tightly packed, we only have to do about $21,000 a week to stay in." And I was like, all right. At the time I didn't care. I was slicing onions and, deep frying chicken tenders. But now it's like, you know what? It's less extra space that you're heating, less space for things to get lost, et cetera, et cetera. So, well, cool. So if you're still thinking about what's around the corner, things must be going okay with the snakes. How's your business gone in those 3 years since we talked? And what are kind of still your projects? I know that things like Clown Pie DG were things that you were working on before. Do you still, what's got you excited these days?
Yeah. So like we mentioned before, I think the market has changed quite a bit. And so I think, like you said, you gotta adjust and change up some of the models that you were thinking. So at the beginning, always as high end and niche as I could, which I have kept some of those projects. I'll talk about them in a second. But I also think mid-range and low-end probably needs to happen just for constant cash flow as well.
Talk to me. There you go. Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not going to have any cash flow, except for, it's just the higher end stuff is selling quite slow. So I've had to adjust quite a bit in that sense. The good thing is with a lot of the high end stuff that I'm shooting for, I get a lot of lower to mid range. And so that is helpful, whether it's wholesaling out, which I've done quite a bit, or just, selling a $300 snake or a $400 snake. And so that being said, what used to be a $2,000 or $3,000 snake is also now a $200 or $300 snake from with the projects I'm working at. So the good thing is, I don't think, I've on those certain projects, I've already made any money. There's no money lost. I'm still making money on it. It's just not, the margins that I would have made before. And so, you see those kind of things happening and you got to adjust. And I do like snakes in general, not just ball pythons. And so I've been branching out into some other species, and I want to continue to do that as well. Just something that I would like to be able to work with. And I think could, if I can get snakes that sell in the $300 to $500 range all day and, I'm good with that as well. So still working DG Clown Pied hard with a bunch of other codoms in it. So a lot of Blackhead and Stranger and Hurricane, and just kind of not your typical codoms that you have in DG Clown Pied. Obviously, I do have those, Inchy and OD and Fire and Yellow Belly and Pastel and all that, just because I think those add to it. But then very much also into the Zebra project and its combos. So Zebra Hypo DG, Zebra Hypo Clown, Zebra Clown. So those are the two main focuses. So DG Clown Pied and then Zebra and its offshoot. So yeah.
Gotcha. What as you get here's always my eternal question with Pied. As we get more and more, or people explore more and more codoms in Pied, I find it very difficult to sort of, the value of those codoms to me gets lost in Pied. And I say that working Clown Pied, I have some chocolate leopard Clown Pied. I have a chocolate leopard Clown Pied clutch right now that I really enjoy. And then I'm showing them at the shows and I'm like, man, these are amazing animals. And the people are like, well, how come this Pied is like $200? And how come you're asking $1,200 for that one? And I'm like, if I have to explain it, maybe there's not $1,000 difference. Now that's not always true, because if they're just the first day that they've ever seen a Pied in their life, they're not going to know. But I think you get my point there. What excites you specifically about Pied? And you've dedicated a lot of your life and resources to this now in that project. What gets you going when these particular codoms are in there?
So no, I agree. I think Pied is always going to be staple for me, just because that's 20 years ago or whatever it is, 25 years ago now. The first time I saw him, it was just mind blowing. I think it is still for people. But you're totally right as far as can you see a big difference? Like for me, it's the same with albino or lavender albino or something like that.
That's fair enough.
Or
yeah.
even banana combos, right? Is someone going to buy a $250 normal banana or a $850 banana combo, and is there that much of a difference? And I feel the same with Pied. However, I love DG Pied, I love DG and Pied, and I love trying to put other stuff in it. So I personally really like it. I like seeing cool patterns come out. Even today, I had something crawl out, and I think it's a pastel blackhead DG Pied, and it looks really cool. So it looks different to me than a lot of other things. And so, and it's high, a lot of blackhead Pied stuff has quite a lot of pattern. And so that's kind of how I do it for myself. Now, does that justify the difference between $150 Pied and a $1,200 Pied? For the first time buyer, I don't think so. I think for people who have an eye for rare or different types of things, I think they might be interested in it. And I think breeders would be interested, just on the off chance we get to create something different, which is kind of what I'm going after. I think that's exciting to me. And in the Pied form, I know it's very limiting. So I get that. One of my good friends, Herbert from HB Reptiles, I think him. He gives me grief all the time about it. He's always like, yeah, but it's Pied. And I'm like, yeah, I gotcha. But for me, it's something very pleasing to the eye. So I enjoy it.
Well, and I asked that question as I always look for inspiration, so I want to have somebody to have a stage for their own excitement and their passion. But also I think it's a great answer. If it gets you going and it's your thing, you should do it. But also, secondly, it's easier to make a point when you exaggerate certain things rather than enjoying the nuances. And the nuances of those things, of course, are where the beauty's at. For me, I like Clown Pieds more than I like more than I like Pieds, obviously, because just the head stamp alone is worth the price of admission for me in that project. So I certainly wasn't trying to advocate against you, other than just to make the point that sometimes things are lost.
Not at all. And I wouldn't feel that. But I mean, even to your point, if you show a Clown Pied compared to a pied, so someone new, they're not gonna like they don't understand the difference with the head stamp, for example.
Right.
But for someone who has 1 or 2 years in the industry, that's really cool. Like I agree with you. Clown pieds are, I think they're way underworked. Actually, I think they produce some really cool stuff. And just they bring a little bit of a different color tone to pied.
That orange is,
I think it's really
much
cool.
different. Yeah. I agree with you. I think there's going to be an interesting case study. I don't know. First you got to come back. I need to invite you back more than once every 3 years. But I think in 3 or 5 years time, I think clown pieds are going to be an interesting study, because it seems like just like oversimplifying things, it seems like they were hugely popular when they first were hit and became somewhat readily available in the what would you say, maybe mid 1,000 or up to just around 2,000. And then it seemed like nobody worked any codoms into them. And then because nobody was working codoms into them, it was this flood of clown pieds that were just like normalized, and the price dropped, and everybody was like, oh, that project's dead. And it's like a classic, like, why you can't say it's dead. It's not dead. It hasn't been done. It doesn't mean it's dead. And I think that we're starting to see some really, really pretty cool stuff in it. To my point, I think the challenge of identifying them actually makes it even a little bit more intriguing, because like, even it seems like it should be the simplest thing to identify chocolate or leopard in a chocolate leopard clown pied or chocolate leopard clown pied. And I've been staring at these things for 5 months now, and I'm like, I think I got this figured out. And then, I get a test back from Charlie of Phenome, and it's like, not chocolate on that one. Oh my gosh, what is that? So but then there's that third possibility of, well, is there something in the clown pied that I didn't know was there, because I can't see it, to my whole original point of what pied does to things. So it's an intriguing project to me. So I do have some. I think that they're cool.
I think it's worth it. Worth working.
You talk about blackhead. I haven't seen much in the way of blackhead pieds, blackhead clowns, and certainly not blackhead clown pieds. What are you seeing that blackhead does? I think you said a little bit about it. It does a low white outcome sometimes.
So they're normally low white, and they can be quite orange as well. And so when you double up like blackhead orange dream, I have one that I was pretty sure it was DG for the longest time, and then I was like, maybe it's not, and I sent in my shed test, and it was not. So I was like, okay, I don't know why this is different from the father, which I think it might be that yellow belly's hidden in there or something like that. But it brings great color into it, and it brings quite a bit of pattern as well. And so they're really probably my favorite pied combo is a blackhead pied combo. And then blackhead clowns, really like that. I have a couple of super blackhead clowns. And so want to try to produce different things of that. And then blackhead DG stuff is really cool. So as a codom, I think blackhead has a lot to bring to the table. And when you combine all three, and that's the good thing about working a triple, that means you can work singles, you can work doubles, and you work the triple all together.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of different avenues to go.
I remember when, when I first started out, people were like, you got to pick a lane in a project. I'm like, I didn't really know them, but I was like, can you just do like a bunch of stuff, and now granted, I can't advocate that everybody go end up with a car wash or a separate building and, hundreds of snakes. I know that's just not feasible or realistic for a sane person. It might not be realistic for me. But on the other hand, to your point of what you just said, yeah, you can work clown stuff, pied stuff, and DG stuff. And generally, I'm guessing that you have hets floating around everywhere and a ton of 66 and 50% stuff as well, right?
Yeah, and if I know they're 66 or 50%, they're either getting, if it's male, I'll probably wholesale them out, and if it's female, I'll probably get them genetically tested and then go from there. So
I was going to ask about that, of how, Do you ever find like on certain projects where you're like, I'm going to breed these two together anyhow? I'll just find out when I breed, or do you always want to know ahead of time?
As far as oh, you mean with the genetic testing? Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
with the genetic testing.
yeah, I have not done that. I have not just put two snakes together in a long time. I need to know. I need to know if I'm going to do it now, just because. But it's more of a that's more of a just, hey, if I'm going to be spending this much money, I want to know that my investment is going to pay out. Yeah,
sure. I guess I'm talking in a really specific scenario. So like I love super gravel projects. So super gravel clown. I imagine using super gravel the way that John Daig used TSK Xanthic. It can be in everything, maybe not pied to the, I mean, it can be, but so for example, if I have gravel and it's in a Ultramel that's 50% clown and there's a codom on top of it, I'm putting that animal to the Ultramel clown counterpart, whether that proves or not, because it's going to move me forward either way. So sometimes I'll be like, I'm not going to test it. I'm just going to find out, like, this is the one either way. Now it's rare because there'll either be siblings that have a better combo or whatever. But if it's the one of the clutch that hits the most codoms or whatever, I'm like, well, that's the one I'm keeping, whether I'm going to use it either way kind of thing. So every now and again, I like just being like, this was going to be the pairing no matter how this testing came out. I'm going to give it a shot.
And I think for especially getting projects started, like for example, with the zebra project, there's so little that's been done. And the reason I like it is because it just seems, not just the pattern, it seems to throw a weird off color in a lot of things, even its heads. And so, like for example, I've heard you talking about super gravel, and I was like, I'm going to put a super gravel to it because I want to see what a super gravel zebra looks like. So I I was able to find an inchy super gravel female, and I've got the zebra now. It's just starting the project, but snakes that have the genetics, codom genetics that you want to get into projects, and it has no hets to it, it actually frees you up. Because you're not like, oh, it's het clown, I have to use it for only het clown. Because once I hear, and this is me, REC, is just a personal. I could, anyone could put any snake they want to any snake they want. But if I hear it has het clown, then it's only going to go in the clown based projects. Whereas if you have something that's not a het, I feel like there's a weight off my shoulders. I can use it for whatever I want, that kind of thing. So.
It's kind of funny because there's a pretty deep philosophical question there of like the person in a dark room that doesn't know about the hole in the corner. If they don't know about the hole in the corner, there's no problem. They're just going to walk through the room. But if you know about the hole, you're terrified and you go sleep, all that. But excuse me. I don't know what it is. I had some dinner earlier. I think is something sitting there. Excuse my coughing. But no, I do. I love super gravel. I think that there's still so much to be done with it. I think seeing it in an Ultramel clown combo is going to be incredible, and a Xanthic clown combo is going to be incredible. And speaking of testing and whatnot, Phenome just released their rainbow test, and
oh, cool.
Yeah, so I actually have one of only two that I know of, but a rainbow clown. And by this winter, she's ready to go, or I think that she will be, in another 6 months, 8 months from now. So it's kind of like, do you ever have those animals that you bought as a hatchling and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I know I have to have that. And then it gets up to size and you're like,
what am I going to do?
What am I going to do with this thing?
Or you've sold off things that you could have used in the past, but you've sold it off, or I was regretting a female that I sold this past week. I was like, because it's the mom of this last clutch that I had. I was like, why in the world did I sell her? She was jam packed with good, solid genes, and it was just because she was just a double het. She wasn't a visual or het or anything, and so I sold her off. I was like, that's the dumbest thing. Anyways, now I have to wait. Now I have to wait 2 years for her, for a
replacement holdback. Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of at that point, but I've got a bunch of I've got pieds that are 66% het rainbow, and I've got a bunch of clowns that are 66% het rainbow. So it's like, and they're all going to come up to a size this winter. And the males actually are up to size, but as much as I just said, it's kind of fun to breed it and find out. I don't have a counterpart of the rainbow to go with those males. So it's not like I want to put, I need to know before I put those males to use kind of deal.
These are visual pied and clowns that are het rainbow, or they're rainbows that are het clown and pied, or pos het clown and pieds?
The one visual rainbow I have is a visual clown. It's a rainbow clown female. Now, if that was a male, it would be much less of a quandary because I could put them to a bunch of things. But it's one female that I have, so I have to figure out what to do with her. Yeah. Then I have 4, I think. I have a handful of visual clowns that are 66% het rainbows.
Okay, yeah, that's tough.
And there's those, but then I have a 2.2 that are pied, visual pieds, 66% het rainbows.
I got you.
So anyhow, it's one of those, like, the next year is always the coolest thing. Like, you get to that year and then you're like, man, but what about next year? And it's like, just stop and enjoy the moment right now, you know? So
for sure.
I'll see what comes out of those. Hey, the test is here, and I've raised those animals up since they were hatchlings when I bought them. So I'm excited to see what comes of them.
I like the Rainbow Project. I've never seen one in real life, but and I know it's another albino, but I like that it's got more color to it, and so it's super interesting. I'm looking forward to see what she produced with that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm liking the peaches, oranges. I haven't quite seen the reds, but I don't think that they're far. I think dark jeans in there is going to produce reds real fast. It's going to be pretty neat to see. So we'll see. I could be totally wrong, and but that's kind of why we do this thing, is to go figure it out, especially on the new stuff. You know, that just, like I say, as far as I know, that's only one of 2 rainbow clowns that have ever been produced. So I'm pretty excited to have that opportunity too.
For sure. That's cool.
Let's take just a moment. Let me pay some bills here. And then speaking of paying bills, you brought up some good points earlier when you said that, you had focused on really niche premium tier caliber animals. That was a big part of our conversation last time. And then you mentioned today that sometimes the mid-tier and the pet level can really be sustaining from a cash flow standpoint. I want to dive into that, and I want to look back at some of your initial investment and planning and kind of get your thoughts in retrospective. What'd you learn from it? What'd you like? What didn't you like? So audience, stick around. Robbie will be right back to that. We'll jump in on that. In the meantime, I use Redline shipping to ship. I don't know this to be factual, what I'm about to say. It's factual that I believe it. If you haven't checked Redline's prices in some time, go give it a shot. If you find value in insurance, if you find value in service, if you find value in being a phone call away, I did some just like factual market research recently, just to hear just to see what the alternatives were. And I was actually very, very surprised at the pricing. So anyhow, go check that out. Use redlineshipping.com. And as I mentioned, they have a phone number you could call for service, guidance, insight. Those are reptile keepers that are looking out for your animals that work with Redline. And they have all the supplies and the goods and the shipping equipment that you'll need as well. So use the promo code Proper5, get yourself $5 off of your next shipping label. BNS Reptilia, the original advertising partner of Proper Royals. Chris still advertises with me. I'm thankful for that. We now vend Tinley together in October. The Rainbow Clown we were just mentioning, he is a 50% owner of that animal as well. So I tell you all that because I trust Chris immensely. Go check out BNS Reptilia. He's Reptilia because along with ball pythons, he is working with blood pythons, locality boas, colubrids of all shapes and sizes, Pituophis, the bull snakes, the pine snakes. If you're looking to branch out and diversify your species in your collection, check out B&S Reptilia. Chris is a wealth of information, and he'll have all the information you need to be successful with the animals that you pick up. Sundog Serpents, we were just talking about the zebra project. That is Sarah and Josh down in Orlando, Florida. I used to vend with them on the Repticon circuit there in Florida. They're doing really, really cool stuff, pretty specialized stuff themselves. They work specifically with TSK Axanthic. They are working zebra, and they have TSK Axanthic zebra ingredients and combos that are available now. If you go check them out on Morph Market as Sundog Serpents. Also, Stranger Hypo Clown combos, Axanthic clowns, again, the TSKs. Hypo Ultramalpides and Hypo Axanthic Pied projects. All those ingredients are live. They have sent me new details on even more new stuff that's live. I'll start rolling that out here in the next couple episodes as well. So check out Sundog Serpents. Reagan Renee Royal Pythons. That is Charlie Ryan. He is up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. ReaganRenee.com. You don't have to type in Royal Pythons. ReaganRenee.com. All of his inventory is on there. If you buy from ReaganRenee.com, he ships to you for free. He doesn't charge you for shipping if you buy from his website. And if you need another incentive, if you use the promo code PROPER10, you're going to get another 10% off of his animals on his website. Also on there in Charlie's professional life, he is in a position where he's constantly analyzing numbers, metrics, odds, probabilities, likelihoods. No wonder he's a fit in ball pythons, but he has programmed some pretty cool calculators on his website as well. Give you insight into potential return on any given pairing and potential return on whether it's worth shed testing whole clutches or not, depending on the pairings. You have to enter in the valuations, but if it'll take your the calculators will take your valuations and give you a spectrum of options and considerations. More food for thought for your pairings and your business in the future. So pretty cool. Check out ReaganRenee.com. Keeper Kane is a channel on YouTube. That's right here on YouTube. Keeper Kane. That's Kane and Michelle Fritz-Wallace. They are in a ton of group chats and Patreons. You've probably seen them around the hobby and the industry. They do breed ball pythons, but their YouTube channel is really about their animals at their house, the kind of the homestead that they're working on. He just completed his rodent facility there on the property. They've got big snakes, they've got aquatics, they've got tarantulas, they've got ball pythons, a variety of species. Check out Keeper Kane on YouTube. Last but certainly not least is Phenome. That is the former shedtesting.com. Charlie Williams is still running all of the shed testing for ball pythons there at Phenome. Phenome is a reptile genetics company. If you haven't heard, they just released a test for blue-tongue skink sex test, ball python sex test, hognose sex test, and a test, shed test for the rainbow gene in ball pythons. So go check out phenome.com for reliable, fast reliable, fast results and the best science in the industry. So phenome.com. Thank you to all of the advertisers and thank you for Palm Street bringing all Proper Royals live content to you ad-free. So if you're into live selling and you want to get on this whole new wave of live selling that's out there in the world, see what it's all about, go check out Palm Street on palmstreet.app is where you'll go check that out. And ball python sales are welcomed there. You don't have to use coded words and airplane emojis and all that stuff that we go through in other places. So thanks for supporting those supporters and audience. Thank you all for being here. I'm here with Robby Richard tonight from Argen Reptiles. If you haven't checked out Argen Reptiles, you should on Morph Market, Instagram. Robby, where else could people find you out there, man?
Probably I'm on YouTube, on Instagram. YouTube is slowly growing, but I do mainly just shorts. I've been trying a different strategy just because I haven't had much time to put together the longer form videos. And then my website, argenreptiles.com, you can sign up. That's just a landing page, but you can sign up for my email newsletter. It's completely free, and I don't spam. It's whenever I have things available, I send it out, and you're going to get discounts and first dibs and that kind of thing. So yeah.
You've had that email list for quite some time now. How many, if you don't mind sharing, how many names ballpark are on that email list now?
Yeah, way less than there should be.
Oh, come on now.
No, I'm probably around 70 names. What I try to do is I've mainly been doing it much more organically. And when you buy a snake from me, when you leave a review and everything, I'll say, hey, thanks. If you're interested, go put out your, and receiving more offers, you can just go fill it out and they can get it. So I really, that's probably one of my goals over the next 12 to 18 months is probably push that a little bit harder. To see what if people are interested. I know I always look forward to, Canova's email or Aussie's email just to see what's available, not necessarily buying anything, but it's really cool to see what they're producing and what the price points are and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I think in this day and age of AI and hacking SEO tricks and figuring out how to hack algorithms, I think people forget email is there, and a curated email list that's truly from you. And like you say, not spammed, I think is a great asset. I regret to admit that I fell off on mine, but when you mentioned that just earlier this week, I actually made a note in my things to do list of I need to go scrape my Morph Market sales and my Redline shipping label emails and send out sort of a permission email of, hey, I'd love to send this to you once a month. If you don't want it, you let me know. I'm out, I'm not going to sell this. It's not, it's not anything else. I think it's a really good idea and a really strong way to go. So nice job keeping that going was really my main point on that.
Yeah.
I neglected one really important thing. I just changed things up around here. Vision racks and cages are on the bottom down there. How did I forget Vision racks and cages? Check out Vision racks and cages. I've done some, I just did a video from Tinley on their newest releases, really cool innovations in there, specifically the Versa rodent racks. The new innovations are outstanding. If the Ultra rack might have been a little bit out of your league, I say that as somebody who's the Ultra rack was a little bit out of my league. Check out these Versa rodent racks. The link is right down in the description from Vision Products, or you can just type in visionproducts.us is the website on that. Sorry about that, Robby, but I was like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, how could I forget Vision? So looking back, I didn't take the closest specific notes, but I look back on some notes and I look back on the episode. You had focused on some pretty high end stuff, and I think that you had focused pretty heavily. I don't want to put words in your mouth. How did you gather the initial kind of investment upfront money? I remember it being pretty substantial, and I can't remember if that was your own family savings, if it was an investor, or if you took a loan. Talk a little bit about that. What was the initial capital, and what was your plan on that?
Yeah. So originally, I mean, it's a lot of capital. It's not as much as many people put in at that time.
Just true. Everything's relative, but yes.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, definitely the most substantial investment I had made in anything. So I did two things. One, it was 2020 or 2021. I refinanced my house down to 15 years and pulled some money out of that as well. And so we got a good chunk of change out of that and kept the monthly payment basically the same. And I'm very glad that I have done that as interest rates have gone up and houses pricing has gone crazy as well. So that was one way of doing it. And I had a cousin of mine, and he's kind of crazy, likes to invest in a bunch of, he's a lawyer, likes to invest in a bunch of different stuff. And so he put in some money as well. I said, hey, let's do this. And it was kind of cool because we'd been friends when we were young and then lost touch. And now because he came into the business, we've been able to develop that relationship again. And so he's actually stepping back a little bit and sold a piece of his pie to another relative of ours who's also a friend of ours, and he's going to step in as well. And he's a financial planner advisor, and he's excited about it. And so I'm looking forward. I think he's going to bring, whereas my cousin and I probably had a lot of vision, excitement, not so much numbers. We're like, oh, let's just do this and we'll do that and we'll do it. And now this guy will bring actual business savvy and numbers understanding into the business. So we're really looking forward to the next what's coming as far as diversifying different species, like I mentioned, and continuing down the path. I do think, just because of the stage and when we got in, which was it wasn't, it was about when the market was at its highest. So we overpaid on a lot of things, but I think I would say we haven't ever lost any money, which is nice because animals reproduce. So as long as they keep producing, you're pretty much good to do that. So.
And as long as you could sell them, which you've clearly had a knack to be able to do as well, especially in the high end. Would you look? So and I know you said it briefly. That was about 5 years ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, so early 2020 was this time around. I had been involved way back in the 98 to 2002. So when I was in high school, I was involved in this. And that was a very, very different time, obviously. And I was, expensive snake for me back then. It was $150, $200.
Yeah.
Quite different now.
Would you, looking back on that, would you change any of the ways that you invested, or were there like times where you were just like, oh no, what have I done? Or I would have preferred to done this or that, or the animals that you sourced, would you have sourced differently looking back? What did you,
so definitely certain animals I wouldn't have bought, that I jumped on. Probably two out of the three most expensive animals that I have purchased. One, man, she made her money back over and over and over. So I'm good with her. There's another that literally, you see the ad. It's a yearling female. So you think it has some size, you get it in, and it's stunted just because it hasn't been eating, and then it's a struggle. So that happened to me with one of the most expensive snakes that I bought. I still have her. I'm still trying to pump something out of her. She's produced one snake in her whole life.
Right.
And she weighed, this was amazing. She was under 700 grams when she laid her first clutch. Just, it was, I didn't even think to put a male in, and I just decided to ultrasound her one day. She had follicles, so I put a male in once. She ate 4 mice and then laid an egg, or laid two eggs.
Yeah.
And one didn't make it. One didn't make it. But I still have the baby out of that, and she's a cool snake. And also like a dwarf. I don't know why they're so small. So I'm just playing around with that too. And then I had another one that was very, very expensive, and she just laid her first clutch literally yesterday, 2 days ago.
Wow.
So those are the types of things. I think spending big money on females was probably not great. But like I said, I think if you just keep on, overall, because of other snakes having done what I was hoping that they would do, I haven't lost. So I would have much rather have gotten in around 2023 than 2020.
Yeah. In retrospect, yeah.
That would have been nice. But you can't. No one knows what's going on, and it wasn't something I was banking my family's well-being on, and
right.
It's something that. Either that money is going to taxes, or that money is going to just sit in my bank and or go into maybe retirement fund, which would probably be wiser in that sense, but it's not nearly as fun. And you know what? Long term, I think the potential now is quite a bit higher than just having it sit in some fund like that. So I have obviously been diversifying other funds to those. Those things, but I think overall, once again, it is for me, I really do enjoy the animals themselves. And so I think if I had gotten in for the money, it would have likely been very depressing at certain points. But at the same time, I mean, even though it's been, more difficult market, I've grown probably 30% every year, year over year. I mean, it's not a massive number, but I mean, it's a good number. And
make no mistake, man, that's a massive, in my opinion, that's a massive number. Like now I came from the world of restaurants, which is tough going, but if I could have grown 30% year over year, I'd be retired right now. Like I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't have to work anymore. I mean, I can remember my boss asking me, are we going to keep up with the pace of inflation? Are we going to do the 2 to 3% growth each year kind of thing? And, so, I mean, those really are, I mean, I'm trying to pay you a compliment there. That's a really, really great result. You said that you wouldn't have spent the big money on females. Would you have rather done that with males and then try and breed them and produce holdback females instead? What would your mindset be on that?
That's probably where I would go. I probably would have just bought some good solid females that are going to be producing. But the problem is buying I think for me, buying high-end multi-gene females that by the time they are at 3 years, many of those genes have dropped in price. Whereas if you buy the male with those genes and you just have some good solid females that you compare to that, then you can produce what you might have spent a lot more money on buying multiple females. Now, that being said, I mean, I think a good solid multi-gene codom single gene recessive is always a good investment. Double recessives, I mean, just straight double recessive females, I think are always going to be a good investment.
Yeah.
Especially now, they don't cost hardly anything. And then obviously anything else with, double recessives plus hets and all that. But and I think supers are a great investment, I think. Like your super gravel, because whatever's coming out of it, it's going to have that in it. And so it functions the same way. So
yeah, and it saves you on the shed tests, which I'm all for shed tests, especially from phenome. But sometimes you might want to save a little in your pocket, kind of thing.
And I've had to send some in. You're like, oh man, I didn't know it was going to be that much.
Yeah, you're like the whole time you're like, oh, I'll just test it. It'll just be no problem, and then
adds up.
I think. Yeah, well, I think that's going to be one of the market corrections where people start to go, not that I want anybody testing less, but they're going to start going, all right, what is more strategic and what's going to put more thought in? Because to your point earlier, you talked about that $300 to $500 range animal. If you had to pay 10% out of the gate, and that would be 10% if it proved to be that gene. And if it doesn't prove to be that gene, then it could be substantially more percentage of the snake. Then it gets a little bit tougher. So I think the benefits far outweigh the stuff that I'm talking about right now. And it's allowed us to fly forward just at exponential pace. But I do think that people just throw around, well, we'll just shed test everything. And I'm like, yeah. You could think about it beforehand, and it does cost money. So there's food for thought on there. I've asked you a bunch tonight, like, what would you do different? What did you learn? Those are all like nice things to be like, hey, would you screw up? Would you do really well? What was like something that you look back and you're like, man, I crushed that. Like, what has been like your secret superpower or your secret weapon against all the competition that you've pulled off, man?
Yeah, I think just straight perseverance helps a ton. I mean, it's boring, but patience and perseverance, just keep on going at it. Enjoying it. I think enjoying it helps longevity. I can't imagine I can't imagine trying to do something like this and not enjoying it. I mean, like any farmer or someone who has, who's raising animals. I mean, it's 24/7. It's a weight on your shoulders. You're thinking, and how many things can go wrong. And so the enjoyment you get out of interacting with the animals, I mean, they're ball pythons, so there's not much interaction there, but when you pull it out and you get to look at what you have had your hand in creating, I think that's always really exciting for me. And then, I think a a good thing that I did was join a Patreon at the beginning, making new friends, relationships. That has been really good for me. Depending on what your day job is, or depending on where you live, you could be literally the only person in the world, in your little sphere of influence that has any kind of interest in this. And so that's tough. That's tough in any situation.
Right.
And
right.
So getting to interact, I think having the internet obviously is, and the social media is extremely helpful. I do think I've done well on social media, which is surprising to me. It's all been grown organically, and people have been interested, at least in what I've been producing. It doesn't always lead to sales, but I mean, the community that's built up around that, I think I've done pretty well in that. So, and I think personally, I really like some of the animals that I've produced, so I've enjoyed that as well. So
it makes them easier. I wouldn't say easier to let go of if you really like them, but it makes it easier to sell when you're a real believer in what you're selling. There's nothing worse than trying to sell something you don't believe in, that's the worst. But hey, a couple thoughts on, I assume that maybe you still enjoy the Patreon, but whose Patreon did you find that you got a whole bunch of value out of? Who would you recommend?
So yeah, it's the only Patreon I've really been a part of. I've been a part of some other ones, but Will at RCR, it's great. Yeah, it's the Discord group, and then some good friends have come out of that, and some good connections. So yeah,
I think I've never been a part of Will's. Not that I wouldn't be. And Will texted me the other night. It was pretty cool. But to your point about the community, whether it's Will's, whether it's mine, whether it's anybody's, if you can surround yourself with like-minded people who are doing like-minded things, you're going to learn so much. There's going to be business opportunities built in there. There's going to be friendship opportunities, like you say, and then just like encouragement and gas in the tank. I actually think that's one of the very best investments that somebody can make. And I don't think, Patreon gets a little bit of a bad rap because people are like, oh, you have to pay to get somebody's knowledge or attention. I think that's missing the point of Patreon completely. It is like being in a private club catered specially to your interest. And most of those clubs, if you think just what a gym membership costs you a month, it's far more than what most Patreons would cost you. So I actually think it's a fantastic benefit. And, there's ways to keep yourself honest and keep yourself motivated. There's almost like an accountability in the Patreon because you're talking about what you're doing. You're being hopefully transparent. You're hearing other transparent accounts. Like I'm a big fan and I'm a big believer in it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that and brought that up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think in general, community in general is going to be a big thing coming in the future with how tech is going, AI and all that kind of stuff. So actual human interaction is going to be big. And so any business model that's built around that, I think is going to do pretty well. So yeah.
This is a massive oversimplification, but there will be a day where somebody with the simplest skill of looking someone in the eye, shaking a hand, and introducing themselves will have a massive leg up in the world and make way more money than the counterparts that can't do that simple thing. Yeah. And I think we're actually starting to see some of that here and now. Like, go get out there, go meet people. I know it's ironic for me to say this as I'm on an internet live stream, but go out there, meet, interact, get in your world person to person. It's the best, man. It's the very best out there. Fantastic point, man. Great job bringing that up, man. Just the last send off. Here's your chance to hype everything up. What are you like? I don't like asking people what they're most excited about because you're probably excited about a ton of things. But what's something that you're looking forward to that pops in your mind? Maybe it's going to hatch in the next, maybe it's hatching right around the corner or it's about to lay. What's on your mind right now that's got you excited?
Yeah, so hopefully going to hit some triples this year. So really excited about that. DG Clown Pied combos have several, probably 3 or 4 clutches shooting for that. And then zebra stuff. I'll finally, hopefully, be hitting some actual visual zebras. I've just been putting my male zebra to every codom you can imagine, female, that is just trying to get codoms into it, so to build this up. And then, like I said several times already, getting new species in. So I have a shot. So I hit Angolan pythons last year. Was excited to do that. And hopefully we'll see if she goes again this year. She might skip this year. But then I have what are called pygmy pythons, which are the smallest of the Antaresia species, called Antaresia perthensis. And I have they might actually go this year. We'll see. Which would be really, really cool. And then so python species, and then a couple of colubrid species. They won't go yet, but I've really had a lot of fun just interacting with them as well. So yeah.
Very cool. Well, Robby, thank you for your time tonight. It is always a pleasure to hang out and to chat and to catch up. Again, I regret that it's been so long. I will make sure that I extend an invite much sooner than 3 years in the future. But I hope that you'll come back. I hope that you stay in touch. It's always, always a joy to catch up and just to chat and to hang out a little bit. Thanks for being here tonight, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's I always have a lot of fun. It's good to talk, and always encouraging to me as well. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, my pleasure. I appreciate it. Audience, go check out Robby Richard at Argen Reptiles, Morph Market, Instagram, YouTube. Get in touch with them. Where can they email you if they want to get on your email list?
So just go to argenreptiles.com and you can put in your email there, and then that'll set you up.
Perfect. All right, guys, go give Robby a little bit of love out there. Otherwise, I will see you all next week, same place, same time. Thank you for being here, everybody. See you then.